It's the Subway NFL postgame show, and the New York Giants are in the postseason for a third consecutive year. 38-21 victors at Buffalo, and they outscored the Bills 38-7 after getting down 14-0 early on. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz. Glad to be with NFL.com's Pat Kirwan with you here after Week 16. And the Giants are in for the second consecutive week playing in terrible weather conditions, but, Pat, they figured something out. Don't throw the football. Let's pound it up the middle, and we can win a football game.
I'll be more specific, and you're right, up the middle. When they tried to run Brandon Jacobs outside, that was a frustration and an act of futility. When they got back in that A and B gap inside power running game, a lot of things came to life. Of course, one of the blessings of the game, Jacobs gets hurt, and in comes Mart, the kid from Marshall.
Ahmad Bradshaw.
Ahmad Bradshaw, and what a change of pace. What a guy. And he had, I think, the longest run in Giant history, in this year.
He had the longest run in the NFL this season with 88 yards, which proved to be the clincher for the Giants, and it was the longest longest run this season. It was his first NFL touchdown as well, and it made him put him up 31-21 and then put the pressure on Trent Edwards. Now, the other part to this is they were falling all over themselves. They started the game by choosing not to take the football, which I know you hate. We'll get back to that in a second. They came out without any energy. They turned the ball over 4 times again. Again, they tried throwing the football. A couple good plays to Monty Toomer early, but the plan, I don't understand. Just hand the ball off.
Exactly. And when I started looking at how the secondary was lined up for the Buffalo Bills, what you were seeing was the secondary was playing off at about 8 yards, and they knew that there were no vertical threats on the field. Shockey's gone. Plax can't really run. We saw them trying to feed Plax early, mistake. But the defensive backs in Buffalo were sitting at the break points of the routes, and you found them all over the receivers. I think when they got back to the run, what a valuable lesson they learned last week, and it looks like they were prepared to come in here and run. I give it to you. They did not come into this game with the right play in the first quarter. But they, when they gave up a possession to use the elements, let's take the win, let's give up a possession, I know most coaches wouldn't do it. So it was a risk, and it backfired on them. They're down 14-0. They climb back into this game, and it's really about the defense. When they go on the road, when the New York Giants go on the road after a loss at home, that defense rises to the occasion every time.
And it's only the third time in Giants history that they have won 7 games in a season on the road. They finished this year 7-1 on the road. 1930, one of those times, and the other time, 2000, when they went to the Super Bowl. Not saying they're going to get there, but they at least are in the playoffs. Now, let's get into this real quickly, just scenario. Let's take a look at the NFC wildcard picture. They are the 5th seed as we speak here after this game. Minnesota, obviously, as we speak, yet to play. Now, if the Giants do not beat the Patriots in Week 17 and Minnesota wins out, the Giants would be the 6th seed and the Vikings would be the 5th seed. But if Minnesota loses one of its last 2 games, then the Giants are assured of the 5 seed. It depends who they play, whether it's Tampa or Seattle in that first game, but it will be on the road. Now, Pat, you're a Giants fan. Well, no, you're not, but let's say you are a Giants fan.
You want to go to Tampa Bay.
You want to go to Tampa.
You want to go to Tampa Bay, so you can almost control your own destiny, but I don't think you're going to beat the New England Patriots. They're going to go for destiny next Saturday night. You really have to weigh out what you're doing here and trying to play this football game. I think they're going to land up having to go to Tampa Bay, which would be great for them.
All right, Buffalo Bills, real quickly here. They're 7-8 now in the season. Whether they win next week or not to get an 8-8, it's been a great season for Dick Kirwan with all the injuries they've had, with the way that Trent Edwards has developed today. The element's obviously a big factor.
And they had another
Marshawn Lynch and Fred Jackson.
They lost their left tackle,
Jason Peters.
When
Who's a Pro Bowl left tackle.
Yes, and when you lose Jason Peters, the heat started to come from that side for the rest of the game, and they were able to get Edwards to throw interceptions and take sacks.
What is Buffalo away from becoming a playoff team? Because they haven't been there since '99.
And I looked at, first of all, now they know they have their quarterback. So they might be able to parlay J.P. Lossman into a pick or a player. So when you look at them, what do they need? You always need another lineman or 2. I'd like to see another defensive lineman in this mix, and I think they got to get another corner in there that can cover and do something. You're in a division with Tom Brady. You wake up every day saying to yourself, how do we get and catch up to the Patriots? That's your job.
John McCargo was their defensive lineman. Last year was a first-round pick. He will be a good player. You have Dante Whitner as well, who took some penalties, but you drafted Paul Posluszny this year, who got injured. You've got young players, a group of guys that when they come back, maybe when they're healthy, maybe you got a pretty good team up there in Buffalo. We'll find out next season because they've got something to build on. Folks, for more on this game or any other in Week 16, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com and watch everything else on the CBS Audience Network. For NFL.com's Pat Kirwan, I'm Jason Horowitz. Giants are in the playoffs. Happy holidays.